If we can have Mr. George Muhammad.
Yep, Mr. George Muhammad.
LJ Malone. Quintessa Hardy.
You want to call it?
Zaki. Ms. Muhammad, did you want to come up or you want, okay. And Ms. Parham, we're going to add one more chat. I just want you to come up just to engage.
George, now please grab a microphone.
Thank you.
Mike. And if it's green, if not, just push that button right there. And I'm going to get you a chair.
And that's the beauty of what we're doing. It's a safe space. We're flexible. And we're going to make it happen. Come on up, Ms. Parham. I know you're like, Lord have mercy.
I didn't get the questions in advance.
And kind of like how we just started the first section, we want to know a little bit about you. So 2 or 3 minutes, we want to hear about what you do, and then we can have some honest conversation.
Start.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Sharice. Thank you. Look, I got to look at Mr. Shelton. I'll be wanting to say Mr. Sheldon every time I see him. But I am Quintessa Solomon Hardy. I am a serial entrepreneur, author, motivational speaker, and a licensed mental health clinician. I like to say that I am a change agent here in the MaconGA community because I am a product of the MaconGA community, and I have left and came back and continue to do the work. I do currently serve in leadership at River Edge Behavioral Health. I'm also a licensed clinician working in the jails right here in the Bill County jail system. And so I think a little bit about what I do is just really just working to empower the youth and adults through all of my series of events, trainings, retreats, different empowerment events that I do, as well as doing the work that a lot of us, kind of stray from, and that's helping a lot of the individuals who we see under the bridges, walking the streets, talking to themselves. Those are my people. So that's me.
And before we go to Mr. George, with you saying that and what Brandon said earlier, we maybe need to do a strategic plan on how we can change our mindset. We have so much trauma in our families and what we've experienced, so that's maybe something that we can work on. I'm sorry, Mr. Muhammad.
I also wanted to mention too, Sharice, I'm sorry, Mr. Muhammad, I do hold the esteemed pleasure of being on the board for the Central Georgia Coalition of Black Business.
All right. Peace and blessings. George Fadel Muhammad. I'm involved with a lot of things in the community, but here on this event that I'm very honored to be invited to participate in, I'm representing Kwanzaa Cultural Access Center and Torchlight Academy. And these are 2 nonprofit organizations that work very closely together and have partnered for the past 33 years doing primarily the Kwanzaa Festival and the Juneteenth Freedom Festival. But there's a lot of other things that we, over the years, have been doing. I just want to mention some of those with the Making Black History tours, van tours, and getting into the history, showing the history of downtown Macon and Pleasant Hill and those areas. We've had the Real Talk Hip Hop Summit, genealogy workshops, Black History and Culture forums, film and book celebrations, African and Latin percussion masters workshops, Afrocentric beauty and fashion shows, art exhibits, meditation, prayer, affirmation sessions, the Salute to Freedom 5K Run Walk for Health and Peace, which I think might have been the first 5K that Black folk did or presented in Macon. Definitely, we did it for about 11 years till it got so popular that it was kind of like an overwhelming number of 5Ks, but we that was a way of us taking Juneteenth to a universal or to everybody when we say the 5K run walk for health and peace, and that's for all people. And we had a lot of diversity in those events. The Pleasant Hill and Cotton Avenue walking tours, Pleasant Hill bike tours, which is a nice new wrinkle to doing tours in Pleasant Hill. Women's healing workshops. We had a few of those over the years. Linwood Cemetery discovery walks, holistic health fairs, which we believe in holistic health, and community cleanups and neighborhood improvement activities. That was a staple of our events over the years, particularly Ujima, the third day of Kwanzaa. We often would do cleanups on that day. Black spirituality forums, because we look at the spectrum of spirituality in our community. Poetry, music, and dance celebrations, Black Luminary and Achievement Award events. Some of them we've had here at the Douglas Theater, and nature and knowledge hikes. Those are some of the things that Kwanzaa Cultural Access Center, whose mission is to foster cultural, moral, educational, spiritual, and economic improvement in the Middle Georgia community using the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And Torchlight Academy's mission is to provide lifelong opportunities of self-improvement for learners of all ages in a beautiful environment. But I want to wrap this part up with saying that a very essential element that we are missing, kind of jumping to a question that y'all had asked, but this is the essence of what we revolve around, is the Nguzo Saba. And it's something that's overlooked, it's something that's kind of given short shrift. But the Nguzo Saba is so important, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, to practice them. That is the empowerment, to practice them 365 days a year, 7 days a week. What are they? Unity, self-determination, which gives you the freedom, which gives you the exodus from slavery. Collective work and responsibility, making our brothers and sisters our problems and solving them together. Cooperative economics. And we've been talking about that. Mr. Habersham has been advocating that for so many years, and that's one of the core things we're dealing with, the cooperative economics, where we're having shops and stores and restaurants, and we're profiting from them together. We're circulating that black dollar. It's so important. These are the principles of Kwanzaa now. Nia, which is faith. Nia, which is purpose. And our purpose is to make our collective vocation, we're never unemployed, the restoring of our people and our community to its traditional greatness. As we study history, Black people, melanin people are traditionally great. The great civilizations of the world, and the first to bring civilization to the world. This is something that we must continue to remind ourselves of in this modern day time, when we have deteriorated away from that reality. Kuumba, or creativity, leaving what we find better than what we inherited. And then the last one is faith, and having faith in our leaders and our teachers and our parents, and in the righteousness and victory of our struggle, because we have become, I think in this day and time, we're struggling with being demoralized. We're struggling with being apathetic, with being defeated. And that faith, and it goes all the way back to the unity. And unity is good. We got universal unity, but our first unity is with that Black. That unity is Black unity, and is unity in the family, in the community, in the nation, in the race. Douglas was a race man. The only reason we are in a beautiful theater, really the most beautiful theater in Macon, the most special theater, most special place that brother has done, Shelton Land has done a fantastic job of taking care of. The only reason that we have such a place that we can be proud of. And I heard some people talking earlier about being a little ashamed of the Blackness, but he was what you call a race man. Douglas was known as a race man. Meaning not that he was racist, but he loved being black. He loved his people. He was proud. That's why you have the chains reminding you of what we come through. That's why you have the sculptures in here. So this is he was practicing in Nguzo Saba, and that's what we have got to get back to, seriously practicing the 7 principles. Finally. All right.
That's it. There you go, right there. All right.
That needs to be one little curriculum.
All bad stuff.
And before she started, this is one of our newest servant leaders, and I wanted her to come because, yes, men are doing a great job, not anything, but the women in Macon Beb are taking what we're doing to another level, and we have so much on us, and I'm so proud of what she's doing. So, Ms. Muhammad.
Hello. So I'm actually kind of glad I went behind George Muhammad, even though it was a little intimidating, because he's so powerful and profound. But I'm actually glad that he just broke down the principles for anybody in the house who does not know the principles, because I'm going to be talking about my business, which is also a trio. So it's 3 of us co-founders that came together. But our baby for our business was actually conceived at Kwanzaa.
Okay.
And
Praise
it's
be to
geared
God.
towards the principles. Collective, Imani purpose, self-determination, just different things like that brought this baby together. And at Kwanzaa, me and, at the time it was 3 other women. However, things happen. But we came together and we figured out that there was a certain vision that we all 3 kind of had. And so we sat down, we had meetings and different things like that, and then that's how the baby was actually birthed. And so the name of our business is Crown Courage Collective, and the other 2 founders are Tia Lockhart and Kia Booz.
Okay.
They're in the audience. And I just kind of wanted to go over and define right quick what Crown Courage and Collective is. And so crown represents royalty, honor, and purpose, a recognition of worth and divine calling, symbolizes empowerment and stepping into one's full potential, could also reflect spiritual authority, leadership, or personal growth. Courage stands for boldness, resilience, and strength in facing challenges, encourages fearless advocacy, standing up for oneself and others, emphasizes personal and collective bravery in pursuing empowerment, and then the collective highlights community, sisterhood, and unity, a shared mission, represents support, collaboration, and coming together for a great purpose, an exclusive space where women uplift and advocate for each other. Crown Courage Collective likely is embodying the women-led movement focused on empowerment, advocacy, faith-driven leadership while fostering community and support. And that is basically together what we do. And I just want to talk about just a little quick thing about alignment, right? And like I told you, it was birthed at Kwanzaa. Us women came together. And literally we had the vision, but someone said earlier, we know what to do, we have it, but we just don't know exactly how to get it or what to do or something like that. And I feel like when God is involved, no matter, because we all come from different religions and different things like that, he still guides the path. Because ever since day one of us women meeting together, alignment, right? God has literally threw things in our face. We would think about something and that person would pop up like Quintessa or this, and literally. And then later on that day, we was like, well, we think about this person, and literally God threw the person in our face. And so I feel like Macon, Georgia, me and my co-founders feel like advocacy and empowerment in our community is important, and God has literally been putting things, even George Muhammad has helped us, but he's been putting things in our face and showing us that Macon, Georgia has a need for women advocacy and empowerment. There's too many young women out there who don't know how to advocate for themselves, who don't know how to empower themselves, and so that's what our vision is, that's what the baby is, and you will hear of us next year making big moves. So
you heard it here first.
And our little nickname is the Triple C. So when you hear somebody and they're in need, you say, "Did you call Triple C?" Thank y'all.
You heard it here first at MaconGA.
Period.
And when you're talking about alignment, When me and Shelton was talking about this and Tia was helping us, how we're structuring people is organic. What's happening? You know, we're not telling people what to say. She brought up mental health, and he said way, and then you go over here and you got Kawans. I mean, this is what we're doing. This is a safe platform that as we learn about each other, I guarantee you, when we leave here, it's going to be new partnerships, new strategic plans, because that's what's going to take. What did the GOAT say? We're in this on our own right now, and we got to come together no matter what. LJ?
Okay. My name is LJ Malone. I'm just gonna let the spirit lead me with this, right? I wear a lot of hats. My heart beat the same, no matter what hat I wear. I've done a lot in the town. I mean, I guess I will say a little bit, because some people, I guess they don't know, like, what you do. They think I'll do this or do that. So I grew up in a record store, Habersham Records, oldest black-owned record store in a neighborhood in the country, certified by Billboard. It was started by my uncle, Alice Habersham, in 1971. And my mom's been running for the last 43, 44 years, right? And so next year will be the 55th anniversary, right? Yeah, but for sure. I then started doing work in the entertainment industry. I worked for many major labels. I started doing promo, doing booking shows. I own my own nightclubs. Ended up doing a talent showcase called Monday Night Live here. We ended up being the longest running talent showcase in Middle Georgia, in the history of Middle Georgia. And we also won 2 awards back to back as being the #1 talent showcase in the state of Georgia, being the only one that's even nominated outside of Atlanta. And I'm proud of that, and the reason why I'm proud of that, because I think we have the best talent musically, anywhere really in America. But I think there's so much hidden talent across the board here in Macon, and sometimes we just need that opportunity. But I then segued into other areas of life because I wanted to change the culture. I just want to be a part of something. Just because. Brother, you tell me that was for me? Oh, that one for me? Okay, all right. But I be paying attention. I'm looking. I want to be a part of the solution, and not just push the problem, right? So, I just get checks or I can't really say it, but, get guys exposure, whether it be, through television, radio, you name it. You know what I mean? I just help create platforms. So a lot of your favorite artists, from T.I., from Future, all of them. I work with a lot of them. Young Jeezy. I started a toy drive here that we did every year. Stuff like that. But I eventually started working in the politics because I understand how serious, voter apathy was with people not voting, not understanding how policy affected everyday lives. When I'm in the clubs or promoting the people in the community, people not understanding, why they need to vote or, why they need to care about what such and such is doing over here in the community. Like, how did that affect their lives? So, I was blessed by Mayor Jack Ellis. He gave me an opportunity to be his field organizer for a mayor campaign. And from that point, I started doing work at other political campaigns, like Senator Warnock. I was his visibility campaign coordinator just recently. I was the regional organizing director for the Democratic Party of Georgia for this last election cycle. So I ran 22 counties this area here in Macon, Middle Georgia, as well as Columbus, Muskogee County. But my biggest passion, more than anything, I'm really more so about the culture. I'm highly spiritual. I lead with the culture. I lead with the spirit. And for a long time, I've been trying to find a way to merge that with everything else that I'm doing. All right? So, I feel like the Most High has really blessed me in this season with knowing how to lead in the spirit, how to lead with culture. So even with my own company I just started, I've been blessed with my lady Tia to have a company. It's called Total Concepts Marketing and Cultural Solutions, right? So I'm going to be moving in that space of finding marketing strategies and cultural strategies for a lot of the problems that we're talking about here today, right? So because my thing is I don't think we go deep enough. I know a lot of times we talk about, action, right? And we do need action. But we need to know what we're doing. And, there's a concept called a sense of being and a sense of doing, right? And, our oppressors, they were taking a lot of these ancient concepts that came from our ancestors that we might call sacred science or whatever in certain areas. But they've taken these concepts and they use these things against us. You know what I mean? And one of those things is understanding power, and that true power is inside out and not outside in, right? And that's something that's fundamental. It needs to be known before we even try to do stuff, right? Because morals and ethics is important in this season. You know, knowing why we're doing what we're doing, right? So we talk about circulating that dollar. If I don't know why I'm circulating that dollar, it don't matter. You know, we live in a capitalist society. So people are just told that individual success trump everything, anything. As long as you making a dollar, it don't matter what you do to somebody. You know what I mean? So in this season, wise is very important. Our sister, she's getting into she's gonna bring all the AI word out, right? So my thing is, I'm teaching, y'all heard it here first, authentic intelligence. So we know how to...
Say that again, LJ.
Authentic intelligence.
Okay.
So we know how to maximize artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Good.
Look at
That's
that
a good
segue.
Yeah, that's a good segue. Right on into our AI person.
All right. Well, so sidebar, I also wanted to give you your flowers because when I went to the economic mobility event for during Kwanzaa, I heard you speak about your intention about being able to immerse yourself in resources, but not just that, like how you also bring your children, you know, like I saw, not only did I see your children part of Create Macon, but and also Chess and Community. I also saw when the AI event was done, they were lifting up tables, and just the fact that you are so intentional in holistic aspect of community. So I wanted to give you your flowers.
Sure. She deserves it, y'all.
Yes, and even like Vincent is not here. I want to give him his flowers too, but also that he was raised by incredible parents. Like we hosted an event one time, and Vincent walked all the ladies to their cars, to the point that my husband is like, I need to walk you to your car all the time. So the aspect of holistic community through what people learn, that's very admirable to see it in real life. But my name is Christelle Parham. My husband and I, we started Macon Black Tech back in 2019. When we started it, so a lot of the things that we do, being in the innovation sector, it's really based on data and research, right? It's always good to create a new idea, but if no one uses the idea, how beneficial is it? So a lot of times, so when we started Macon Black Tech, we wanted to create a safe space for people that look like me and you to exist in spaces where they would learn as they were in community, right? So as tech founders ourselves, we started studying out different communities and build community all around the world with other people that were tech ecosystem builders as well. And we launched a accelerator program called Makeathon back in 2021. It's coming back, but y'all, I'm tired. Bear with us. Through that, really curated experiences. For example, we brought Google back to Macon a few years ago, and then we just had a partnership with Microsoft and Wesleyan College this weekend. And believe it or not, we had more than 500 people attend the event, and it took less than 2 months to plan it, you know? And so pretty much where does that come from, the intention, like behind curating experiences? I'm from Haiti. I grew up in Haiti visiting my grandparents in the country. Everything around me was curated around community. From the way that we connected with our neighbors, there was never a degree of separation. My principal could give me a whooping if he wanted to. I don't know, this is 2025. Let's not talk about that. But like the aspect of no degree of separation and being able to like learn within myself, like how to grow as a person and see how that's interconnected to the community around me, that shows up in every area of our lives. So technology is just a tool that we use, but as humans, you know, it's important to be empowered by the information so that we can be able to move forward. So in my work, whether in our business or our nonprofit, this is what we do.
That's good. That is definitely awesome. And that's a good segue because this section or this segment right here, the second half, we wanted to talk about the state of the Black Central Georgia. And so that involves everything like the political tent, us as people, us as business, what are we doing, coming together, working together. How are we using the tools and the resources? And one thing that I can go back to, Joe and Brandon and everybody, they talked about money. I think sometimes I'm a person to believe like this. Right. Finances, money, resources. But money is more than just green. You got human capital. You got your social capital. I got my partnership capital. It's so much. How do you know how to use your capital? Because we're really all millionaires and billionaires. We're just not tapping into it. Because just like I may need some marketing and this and that, I could reach out to Alex, right? I could reach out to you. Sometimes we just don't tap into it. So we don't know how to bring those things together. And a lot of that is because of sometimes the political tents that we operate under. And it's a lot of things that are, political. But how do we navigate that? How do we come together? And we really want to talk about the state of Black
Central Georgia.
All right.
I want to take a stab at that and say I think my three main focuses as an entrepreneur and a mental health practitioner is literacy, economic development, and mental well-being. I think with our community, looking at the Black Central Georgia, is that we don't know how to unlock the box. So the keys have been sitting, I don't know how many of y'all been to an escape room, right? And I just did one recently, and I'm like, oh my God, it was there the whole time. I've never felt that dumb in my life, I'm gonna be honest. But it was funny because it teaches you that you have to work as a team to figure it out, or you'll die, whatever it was. We didn't make it to the end, y'all. I made the guy show me where it was. But I think we don't know how to access the things that we need to get to the next step so that we can move forward. So Christelle, for example, giving her flowers, reaching out to a company like Microsoft and bringing that level of, scalability to the Macon community is like, it's unimaginable. It hasn't been done. So you ask yourself, well, how can I do something like that in my lane? How can I bring the highest of Kwanzaa right here? How can I bring the highest of Washington, D.C. right here? Well, that's your answer right there. What did you do? How did you reach out? And a lot of times we have those keys that's just sitting over there, but we don't think about how to unlock so that we can get access to those things. Anybody that knows me, I'm asking questions. I'm scheduling meetings. We going to coffee. We get a cocktail depending upon the day. But I don't mind asking for what I need. And I learned that at a young age that you should always ask questions. So I think the first thing we have to do as a Black community is begin the process of eliminating the pride, eliminating this feeling of embarrassment. I think we all want to show up and have the answers. But the reality is if we don't know, we don't know. And so that's why literacy is so important. That's why mental well-being is so important. That is why economic development is so important, because all three of those areas unlock the keys. That's how you get through.
Right. And she's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Unlock the key. Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with her. And I think, we're going to keep talking about Christelle, because what she do is just where we at right now. Yeah, but data, right? I was going to say that. I think that that's a big missing link, a missing piece around here, like data. You feel me? And I think is intentional. I was going to say some of it's unintentional, but no, I'm just going to say it's intentional at its core and at its root. There's a lot of statistics. There are a lot of things that are hidden from people in regards to us knowing what we're dealing with here, right? So, like, even when my sister talks about unlocking that box, you know what I mean? Like, I hear a lot of times in meetings or in spaces where people talk about traumatized individuals in Macon, Georgia, not making it to community meetings, or not showing up to City Hall, or why did they answer an email, or things like that in regards to why aren't they seeking services that are just laying there to help them, right? But if nobody told them they sick, you understand what I'm saying? If the narrative is everything is good, hey, we building this over here, we're gonna tear down this house over here, not worrying about, who's gonna stay over here, and stuff like that, right? Then that's a that's going to create a false sense of security. So even with the social determinants of health, there are so many issues. My lady Tia, she does work with environmental justice. People are making us sick, like literally. There are certain parts of Macon, if you're pregnant, you don't want to be pregnant in certain parts of South Macon, in certain areas, because of your baby being exposed to having certain birth defects and things of that nature. The air quality, in red line areas of Macon, Georgia, they call it a Brownsfield. Macon has literally the worst air pollution in the state of Georgia. Did anybody here know that? Yes. Okay, y'all people, you work in the community, but how many more of our people that are in the community know that? You understand what I'm saying? So I think that's a big issue here in Macon with data, and I think it's intentional. And the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of different benefits. For instance, there was a conversation had about the $6,500 voucher that's coming out for education, right? And they're talking about how that money is going to be used for folks that want to send their kids to private school, right? But when we start talking about, like when you talk about capital, I'm always talking about cultural capital, right? Mm-hmm. And that's capital as well. And how in 1971, when you had, like my uncle talked about the integration and segregation, so before we came from exclusive racism to now predatory inclusism. So, and when we had these private schools that were created in 1971, it hurt public schooling here in Macon, Georgia, right? Most people like myself who grew up in public schools didn't know anything about this public versus private school situation. I didn't know about it until I became a grown man and did my own research, because I'm looking at my kids going to school and so on and so on, trying to see why are the schools like this and so on, right? There's never been an apology to black folks in Macon, Georgia for these schools. Or like Gilead, I just found this out. I didn't even know that. The Gilead in Bloomfield, there was a segregation academy. The gym itself was a place that black kids cannot go to. Now they play every day. Do they know that history? You understand what I'm saying? So now we're back now to 2025, and I'll land here, where now we're talking about using $6,500 now to empower the same schools that were started all by white churches, to empower the same schools that separate us in the first place and have us in a situation now where now white folks are back at the table saying, why should we invest or put our money into public schooling? And why should we use our millage rate, these property taxes, to put into public schooling? But guess what? The property, when we start talking about redlining, Macon is the most redline city in America. Did y'all know that?
Yeah.
Okay then. But how many of our people know that?
Right.
And what does that mean? You feel me? People talk about redlining for a minute. I talked about redlining for a whole year or two. I thought I knew what I was talking about. I didn't know what I was talking about. So at the end of the day, I think the data behind these situations and why, like the whys, right? Because that's why I said, like, the what's, I don't think is that as important to Macon right now, because we haven't done a real analyzation and a prescription as to what's really happening to us. And then there's a false narrative being put out in our faces every day as if nothing is wrong.
And I wanted to respond to that. And he touched on some points, right? And I love those points when you say the data, the people, is not being shared. And I want to go back to Christelle's point. Sometimes the data exists, it's there. But if you don't put it out in a way that's creative or people see that it's meaningful, people bypass it, they don't read. Now I'm going to go back to Alex's point. They'll look at what I had, what that type of pork chop was and what this was, because you have to be creative. And I'll say that just me doing my own research from like here in the Douglas, since I've been in the Douglas. There are things that have been happening here before I even came to Macon. And it wasn't that they didn't exist. All I did was did some market research, marketing and promotional research, how to elevate and turn more outward. They've been done, but it was done more inward during that time where the community was more tight-knit. So you got a good turnout because the black people still felt like this is the safe space for me. But now they have access to everything, right? So you got to evolve and keep it with the time. So it's not that the information, the data, and all these things don't exist because it's there. And I come from working from the United Way, and I know it's there. It's how do we put it out? And like Christelle said, if you don't make it meaningful or people see that it's something meaningful.
How it relates to their life.
Yeah, and they can't see themselves. They got to be intentional and deliberate in how you do it.
Yeah,
And we'll let Christelle.
I love what you said, Dr. Land, because when we think about whether you're operating in healthcare or social impact or research, it's so important to think from a proactive standpoint or rather than reactive, because if you're constantly operating from the reactive standpoint, you don't have time to strategize because you're not in your body, right? So with data, what's important, first and foremost, we have to know there would be no AI without data, right? So we all have, whether you're a business owner or you've been doing events for 30 years or plus, you have access to data that big marketing companies will pay for, right? But you have to know how to use it, right? And speaking of proactive, right? I love what you shared about the information that's out there. And when we thinking about community holistically, we know there's data around, I think Brendan and I were on a panel where we talked about almost 90% of Black business owners are solopreneurs, right? So that means that our times are limited, right? So if I don't have time to go to the commission meeting, right? But I sometimes it's not intentional, but as a community, we have to curate experiences where we're able to share with one another, because no one else is going to do it for us, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, when we come back to unity, that's one of the big problems of what does it mean to support the Black cause? What is your commitment to the Black cause as a Black person? When you went back to the time of plantation, on certain issues, we had no choice. But, as Brother Habisham spoke about integration, that was kind of like a beginning of us starting to really loosen up to the point that we just spread out and we no longer have that devotion to each other. We no longer have that commitment to each other. And then in this time, it's about the dollar. It's about money. And you have a lot of people who are more focused on their own personal financial gain as opposed to the collective. The collective is our strength. The unity, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said our unity is more powerful than a nuclear bomb. And the reality of it is, without unity, we are very, very weak and scattered. This community today, the Black community has a lot of weakness. It has a lot of fear. It has a lot of desperation and basically just being done. But yet we're in the majority. Yet we have all of this hidden potential, So, and then as consumers, the education of knowledge to discernment. We have all of these shops in our neighborhoods, the Indians that came here, and they looked at the community. They're responding to an economic opportunity. And in every one of our neighborhoods now, with these stores all over, we have, from a political standpoint, we have the majority vote, but the white community dominates us and moves us around, and we have no real faith in each other. We really are struggling with being able to manifest the potential that our ancestors laid out for us. We have these from previous generations, great institutions that we're allowing to be swept away. You look at a Booker T. Washington Center and how we let this be mishandled. When we're the majority here, we have leadership, and it's owned by Macon-Bibb County Parks and Recreation Department, but not invested in. It's not serving the community. It was the first recreation center, the first center that catered to the seniors and to tutoring and to literacy and to all these kinds of things. But Black institutions, thank God we still have the Douglas Theater. Institutions hold up your society, your religious institutions, your educational institutions, your theaters, your museums. These have to be very strongly supported, and they've kind of been slapped around here in Macon. We had to fight for the Douglas to get to where it is. For a long time, they didn't want to fund the Douglas. It took a lot of fight. The Tubman Museum doesn't even own its own building anymore. And that was a trick that was done on the people, where they vote for a measure and they think that they're finishing or the work, $2.5 million, and now it's gonna go for Urban Development Authority to own the building. We have all these kinds of things where we're in a weak position, and these groups are mishandling our community, manipulating us. And again, it goes to even with political. In the past 200 years, we've had one black mayor, and he did a great job. People will throw stones at him, but he did a great job. He's as good as or better than any mayor we've seen. But yet we're scared to push and continue to have black mayors. You look at Atlanta, you look at Atlanta University Center, you look at the synergy of Atlanta and how black people are moving. They're not perfect, but it's a lot more energy going on because you have black leadership. Black people are meant to be leaders. All these years that we struggled coming from the plantation, now we're able to go to college. Now we're able to have doctorate degrees. What are we going to do with it? It's time for us to lead. I'm tired of us not leading. It's time for us to lead, but we got to support each other. We got to educate each other. We should boycott those stores out of our neighborhoods. Stop going to those stores. Stop supporting those outsiders. We need our own stores in our own neighborhood. These are great weaknesses, the gorillas in the room, in our face each and every day. All this adversity that we've gone through as a people together, and now we want to separate and don't help each other. Don't support each other. Don't have unity. And not faithful to the cause of support the black. Support the black. And I know, you know what? We could have 10 mayors. By the time we get to the end, one of them's going to do something good. We had one that did good. You know, how many white mayors have had a chance to do something messed up? I mean, they've had many years. And so it's time. I know I may sound racist or whatever you think, but it's not. It's just a straight. It's just the fact that it's the elephant in the room. You black. You know you black, and you're strong and you're great. And we've gone through all these years. What we waiting on, man? Let's move and help each other and stop selling out. There's too much of that mess going on.
All right. Okay.
You know? And I think I think that's passion. And I like when people speak from their passion and from a true lens. And I always tell people, your lens is your lens, my lens is my lens. But it's about how do we respect each other.
But could I say this one other thing? We need a local organizing committee of all the black organizations and all the groups, as many that want to participate. Black people that can be at all the various meetings. Everybody can't be these meetings. You working on your business, but we can have somebody that can be at the Board of Education. Somebody could be at the City Hall. Somebody could be at the Water Board. Somebody could be at the all these different other groups.
Wow.
But we need to have a operational unity and organizational unity. Come together. We got people in this room that can start that right now. That's what we need.
We do have the Central Georgia Coalition of Black Businesses. You know, right. I don't want us to recreate the wheel. That's why we're having this platform, because it's not about me. It's not about Alex. We have a wealth of knowledge around here. I want you talking about all your tours. That should be on a page of its own, that anybody outside of Macon be like, I'm going to take George Muhammad's tour, right? Or how we're talking about empowering women. That's why we're having this platform, so we can get out our silos. People know what you're doing, and we can work together. And yes, I do want to say, for me, I get an opportunity to work with Alex Habersham on a daily basis. And when I say my life is better since this man has become my mentor, would be an understatement. I learned so much history. I learned pride. I learned how to be more efficient. I learned how to be more intentional. And because of him is why I'm sitting here with Sheldon, because I get out of my silo and I talk to Sheldon. I said, listen, we got to do something. And that's why we're here today.
And support Ruth Mosley Center.
Yes.
Make sure we don't let that go away. Put some money in the Ruth Mosley Women's.
Yeah. Can I say something real quick too? And I think we need to understand there's a sense of urgency too, though. You understand? When you got stuff going on to when literally you got and you don't want to talk about race, right? But we have to in this present time. We have to, because that's what's happening right now. When we have people that are sending back folks, all the immigration stuff that's going on, right? For one, we know what's going on with that, right? But when you have folks that are literally fighting for reparations for white folks, white males are now fighting for reparations for white people. This is a real thing. Mm-hmm. Understand? When we talk about being intentional, it's not an option anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right.
It is. And it's not just Macon. These are global things. These are happening everywhere. As everybody probably know, if you don't know, like I'm from Virginia. So I'm from the DMV. So I just came from home, and these same things that we feel like is happening in Macon is happening everywhere. It's not just here. So we're not exempt. We're not, I'm telling you, it's in Virginia, it's everywhere. People are gathering. And I think that's a beautiful idea where you do come together. And Sharice is right, it already exists. It's just that people need to latch on. We need to be more intentional. Because we can come to forums like this, we can sit together, we can chit chat. And that's why I say sometimes you gotta move the chit chat to action. And so when you move to action, and it does, and it takes it, I know, if anybody's schedule is oversubscribed, it's mine. My calendar is so oversubscribed. Every time especially this month, Black History Month, it's an event tomorrow. That's why I'm hitting her like, oh yeah, it's about time to go out and tell this man, you come in here. I got Kyrie back there. I got to pay him overtime. Right. They be here. So, but it is though, and I get what you're saying, and that's why I love this podcast. So we can come together, get some ideas, get some thoughts. Listen to each other, be knowledge partners, be thought partners, because we do have the knowledge capital to make things move. We are so rich in knowledge, but sometimes we just don't share it and put it out there. And sometimes we just don't know how, because we get so busy. But we did want to open it up to the audience to ask questions.
Well, we have limited time, but I want to say two things. We do have 2 surveys, and you'll see the QR codes over there. We want your input as we're talking about solutions. This is something that we're going to continue to tweak. And my goal in December is to have a platform for all Black folks, all this including, that we can share with elected officials, powers to be. These are things we're going to do. These are things that we need. And not just, it's okay to be passionate. It's okay to complain. But at this point, we need to have strategic initiatives. Like right now, I would love for every child to know AI, right? Because again, I work with children and I ask them what they want to grow up and they say the exact same things. We gotta change that, y'all. We gotta change that. So with that being said, Tia, we're running out of time, but if we may have time for 1 or 2 questions from the audience. And while we're waiting for that, I want to thank my co-host, Dr. Sheldon Land.
For putting up with me. she put up with me today.
You put up with me. And we're so thankful for all the wealth. So we have a couple questions.
All right. Do we have okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ambassador Dr. Angie Eugene. Sakpase.
Nabule.
I just wanted to give you flowers. I attended the AI conference, and it was amazing. I got so much knowledge. Things that I didn't think I could do. Girl. I am part of the Founding 50. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. Okay, so we were talking about change. When one of my friends told me that her and her husband gets over $300,000 every year and they don't pay taxes on it, I want to know why. I want to know how. They travel all over the world and they don't have to worry about bills. So I found out about it, okay? You know me. You can't tell me something like that and that. So we have Zoom calls every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I'm not teaching it because I'm not an expert, but I found the people who are experts to teach us how to invest our money, stocks, investments, life insurance, burial insurance, retirement planning. Mm-hmm. You would think that it takes a lot of money to do that. It does not. For like $30 a month, okay? We could do that. So again, I'm not teaching, but come on Tuesday, reach out to me. Most of you, it's on my Facebook page. I want to tell you guys some good news on another note. My daughter is in Forbes magazine, 30 under 30. Awesome. It's on my Facebook page again.
All right.
And I'm going to leave with this. I have 2 asks. One is I'm looking for a building here in Macon for my nonprofit organization. I've been funding my nonprofit out of pocket for over 10 years. Okay, I need help. And thank God for AI now. Girl, it's on. I'm gonna get funding. So I need a building here in Macon for my nonprofit. And what is that?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. And my other ask is, I have the opportunity, I was voluntold, I just learned that word. I was voluntold to be in Miss Corporate America pageant. I don't see myself as a pageant queen, but I do have 2 crowns. So I need a corporate sponsor. So those are my 2 asks. Thank you guys for a fabulous job.
All right.
Do we
So
have?
yeah, more of a request than a question. Okay, so the request was, let's make sure we get it right. You're asking, you need a corporate sponsor
Yes.
for a pageant that you're going to be in. Is that
Yes,
what it was?
and sorry. Thank
Okay.
you.
Something.
The winner, which would be me,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, claim.
because I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's think of Miss America.
Mm-hmm.
So I need a corporate sponsorship.
Okay. All right.
That
Well,
is-
we have got that.
So the winner gets 2 tickets around the world to go on global platforms to speak about their corporate sponsor. So whoever sponsors me, I get to go around the world and talk about their initiatives.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's the information we needed. Okay.
So Miss Victor, you can come on up. Oh, no, because we want you on camera.
Nice cardigan.
And you'll be our last comment question for tonight.
All right, how everybody doing tonight? I'm trying to make this really quick. My name is Victoria Hudson. I am with Humanitarian Gang, which is a nonprofit organization that I started roughly about 10 years ago. One of my biggest questions is, I am from Macon. I was born and raised in Macon. I took the college route. I'm in corporate America, and so I've reached this beautiful age of 35, and I'm just really just trying to just replant my seeds in a positive way in the community. And so I'm just trying to figure out, what is the advice that you guys have for me to be able to start getting the exposure, the collaborations, the partnerships, to be able to impact the city the way that I really want to impact it?
Be rooted in the history. Learn the history, and so many people today, we don't value what we have, and we have power in that foundation. Respect the ancestors. Respect what they've done. Learn that history. Don't allow yourself to be disconnected, because then you become weak and you end up just being used.
And keep doing what you're doing. And I think we have brought up AI and other tools. Your heart is there. Your connection is there. I think once you bring a little bit more technology in it, you're going to go off the chain, because you already do so much in the community.
And then I was going, oh my bad.
I like
I was
it.
just going to encourage you to not be afraid to get out there. Mental health is impacting our community so greatly that it is stopping our people from making progress, and it's really heartbreaking to see. And a lot of us, we talk about it in our silos, like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with him? Put yourself out there, but do it in a way that's meaningful. It's intentional. You said you went to a university, correct? You got your education. So I'm a sorority girly, right? So, okay, you're a sorority girly too. I'm sorry about that, though. I'm joking. I'm a Delta. But a lot of times, a lot of people in our community don't have that exposure. Capitalize on that exposure. Do not take your college education for granted, because it wasn't until I got out of college to realize that everybody didn't go. And so a lot of times we leave it on the yard, right? And then we come back into our world and we just kind of go back into doing nothing. It's time for you to capitalize on all of that. Whatever initiatives. I reinvented the NAACP Collegiate Chapter for the Fort Valley State University, and those connections were waiting on me when I got back to Macon. So it may be one organization that can plug you into everything that you need. So don't let what you learned on the yard stay on the yard. Get involved. Don't be afraid, and don't let your mental health hold you back.
That's right.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your organization does?
So Humanitarian Gang Inc. it started off as just a a way for me to just take care of my younger self growing up in Macon. A mother that was on drugs, a daddy that has autism, and we were just one of those kids that needed shot for a cop. We needed as many resources as we can get. And so once I, graduated college and made a little bit of a living for myself, I wanted to make sure that I just kind of paid it forward and took care of my community the way I felt like my community took care of me. So first quarter, we typically try to do events with other organizations. We volunteer, we do whatever we need to do to be able to support other people. And then for the rest of the quarters for the year, we do give backs, we do back to school events, we do free haircuts, we partner with Black-owned farms to provide fresh vegetables for Thanksgiving. We actually adopt families for Christmas, and we allow the kids to provide us with a list of things that they want for Christmas, and then we get as much as we can afford off that list, because back in the day when I did Shop for a Cop, you got 20, maybe $50, go to Walmart, get you something for Christmas. That's nothing. I'm gonna be just honest with you. And so when I decided to do this initiative as far as Christmas, we wanted to be very intentional to make sure that Christmas was feeling the way it needed to be felt in these families.
Thank you for sharing that.
Beautiful.
So okay, so obviously we need your organization and what you are bringing to our community, and the fact that you are coming from an empathy lens, so you understand the depths of why the people need you in the work that you're doing. What I would advise as well is I'm learning this as I go. So 2 years ago, I had this epiphany as I was going through a burnout. I was like, please excuse me for what I'm about to say. Like, this is, like, you know how they say, I'm building the plane as I fly it? That's nothing to be proud of, because sometimes we do so much, we burn ourselves thin, so thin, and we carry it as a badge of honor, but we are not ready to fight the sustainable fight because we don't have our oxygen mask on first. So what you're doing is so important. So as you're building and you're providing support for your community, also think of long term, also think of the long game on how do you fundraise and how do you equip yourself to do it in the next 10 years. And also, how do you pay yourself, Because in order for you can't say, hey, Georgia Power, I volunteered 100 hours this week. Can you give me a credit? It doesn't work that way. And also, learning alignment is one of the hardest things to learn. I'll be brief. I'm landing the plane, y'all. Learning alignment, there's nothing wrong with saying no. Sometimes when you say no, it allows people to find the right alignment, right? So as you're build for sustainability, don't build to wear yourself thin.
Were you speaking to her or me?
I'm speaking to myself and everybody.
Can I say just one?
Because I heard. Oh, okay.
Can I just say one little thing? I like your question and everything that everybody has said, alignment and different things like that. One thing that I hear a lot in Macon, not just from everything, is we don't have the resources, but we actually do. There's a lot of resources in Macon. Research. Anytime I'm trying to look up or think of something, I go on Google, Facebook, and I say nonprofit workshops, youth programs, and different things like that. It's so surprising how many resources and programs there actually is in Macon, and then you go in the room and it's like this. You know what I'm saying? So search for it, and you'll be surprised how many people are already doing what you're looking for.
Thank you for that question. And listen,
ask one final thing. I just want to say one thing, if that was okay. I'm sorry. So I
should have brought food in, but okay.
Right, I'm sorry. Just very quickly, though, just to kind of bring everything back together with what Mr. Muhammad said as far as the organizational committees, because myself and Brandon had a conversation a few months ago just in relation to us not working in silos, people being on steering committees, and maybe not having a full understanding of what's going on, but being able to bring that back to each other so that way we can, have conversations, strategize, and take it back so that way we are getting what we want in those spaces. So just to bring that home, along with what you said about the coalition and not reinventing the wheel, how can we moving forward so that we're not being stagnant after this space where we can kind of make those connections and build that kind of that committee?
I think everybody here has been inspired. I know that I will not be able to go on Tom Hill Singing Boulevard without thinking about Asia ancestors, okay? everybody here is inspired. The reason why we're doing this is because we don't know what we each other do. You know, how can you partner with somebody? Like you, I know you, Mr. Muhammad, but you said some things I did not know. So now it's getting me thinking. We got to have these honest conversations. You know, we don't have time. We have some other leaders in here. And Ricardo, we're going to have you on a future podcast and others. But this is why we're doing this, y'all. We cannot act like we don't know what's going on. And yes, it is resources, but because we don't have financial resources sometimes, we are pitted against each other. We don't work with each other. And I know sometimes it may be $1 and you need that $1 and we're gonna fight over this $1. But we gotta realize maybe we can share it. We gotta have some kind of starting point. But we can talk about it, but we're gonna have to end this. This is good. So let me say this. So this podcast is more than a platform. It's a movement, a space where we honor our past, celebrate our present, and build our future with boldness and pride. Being Black isn't just an identity, it's our superpower, right? So we appreciate you guys being on MaconGA, our first podcast. And then I'm going to end with Mr. Shelton because we do have some activities, and I want you to support the Douglas Theater, and thank you guys for joining us.
Yes. So definitely. Again, I just echo everything that Sharice said. Thank you all for coming, sharing your thoughts. Thank you for doing it right here at the Douglas Theater. All right? Thank you for, just this cultural treasure right here. And as Sharice said, we do have a lot of things. We are going Black in history because we are Black history. That's what the Douglas Theater is. All month long, we have our 155 Days of Giving campaign to honor the founder, Mr. Douglas. It'll be his 155th birthday on February the 17th. And so we're doing a give $15.50 because he'll be 155. Okay. And so we're looking for 1,555 people just to give $15.50 because that helps the C.H. Douglas $5,000 scholarship that are to high school students who are HBCU bound. So we support in that space. We support our creative residency for emerging artists. Want to keep them coming in. It's also a part of our HBCU initiative. We have a lot of things going on here at the Douglas. Our Heritage Festival, Jimmy L. Mills Jr. Heritage Festival, which is coming up this Friday. It's free, open to the public. Our Black History film series, every Friday at 7 o'clock starting on the 14th. We're kicking it off with Bob Marley, One Love, and then we're going to end it with 6 888 on the 28th, but we have another one in between. They're all free, open to the public. So these are the things that we're doing during Black History Month.
Husband, date night.
Come on out, engage with the Douglas. We do have a few things that may be low cost or pay what you can, but hey, I always say support the Douglas because the Douglas is going to support you.
That's right.
Seriously, we will support you. And anybody that know me, I'm always willing to open up the doors within reason. I don't come here 3-4 times and give you a free event. No. But we will support you, yes. But again, this has been great for us. Sharice, Thank you. Thank the host. Thank you, Kyrie, the cameraman in the back.
Thank you, Kyrie.
Yep.
Ray Mason and my husband who put up with all my foolishness. See you next
to everybody,
time.
to all of the panelists. Thank y'all.
Bye, everybody.
All right, good night.
Good night.